As a website designer or developer, client handover is a really important part of the process. There's several reasons for this. Firstly, it's how professional you look during that transfer process. Do you look like this is the first time you've done this, or do you look like you've got a very robust system in place that makes this solution not only easy for you, but really simple for your clients? Nowadays, new tools are being built with ease of use at the heart. This means that it's not only easy for you as a website designer or developer to build a website, but it's also now easier than ever for your clients to engage with that website themselves, whether that's leaving comments and allowing you to do the work, or taking full creative ownership over their own projects. And that's the key point here. The transfer process effectively gives content ownership to your clients. If you're a founder or you're a business owner, perhaps you don't want to get too bogged down with designing and creating ideas for a brand new website, but you definitely want to own the way you speak to your customers and how you own your online presence. Finding a tool that allows for a really simple transfer process is a vital part of your setup. Today, I'm going to be walking you through the entire client handover process inside of Wix Studio, from small things like adding comments and allowing you to stay completely in the driving seat and having your clients sort of come on board and list changes they wish to see across the page, or full ownership transfer where your client now becomes the full owner of the site and you maybe stay on as a co-editor, or maybe see that project go entirely over to the client. Wix Studio offers two main ways to do this. Now, the first way is basically through collaboration. So if you're familiar with other tools that allow for seamless collaboration, you'll already be familiar with how this works. So this is effectively where we invite members to our project as collaborators, where they can do a range of different tasks based on what roles you've assigned them. So for example, like I said before, they can drop comments on specific sections, maybe buttons, request specific changes that you can then go in whilst keeping your role as the website designer or developer and adjust based on those comments. And this collaboration method can go all the way through to a fairly onboarded client where they can change pretty much anything, including the design. You do remain in control of that process, and you get full control over what permissions that you give to your client in this specific phase. So perhaps if you wanted to work alongside your client and have them bring in specific content and copy for a page that you've already built the layout for, whilst you work on something else, then this is a great option to explore. The second method for client handover inside of Wix Studio is a full site transfer. Now, this is where you see your project completely transferred in its ownership over to your client. So you may be able to stay on board if this is the relationship that you've got with your client as a co-editor or a co-owner. But for some people, you may wish to do a full transfer and effectively say goodbye to your project and hand that entirely over to your clients. With this step, we can also hand over our plans, our domains, and give everything over to the end client, meaning that we can then walk away comfortably from the project knowing they have access to everything they need. So let's head into Wix Studio, and I'll now show you how to use that first method, so inviting a collaborator to one of your projects. So you'll want to open up your dashboard where we can see your active sites, and the easiest way to do this is to click on the Site Actions menu on one of your open projects. So if we click on Site Actions, you can see here we have Invite Collaborators. So give that a click, and this is going to allow us to invite up to 10 email addresses to collaborate on this specific project. And this is exactly what I was talking about before. So we get very specific control over how much we want to allow that invited user to be able to manipulate, edit, and change. So if you scroll through, you'll see that we have these general roles here, such as admin, which effectively gives them full control and ownership over everything they possibly could need to use. Or we could be more specific. So for example, a website designer can make changes to the site, manage settings and apps, but they can't access your inbox, contacts, and other sensitive information. So it's really worth scrolling through all of these and having a good think about what sort of relationship you wish to have with the collaborator. So for example, a content writer can come in and edit text, links, and media sources for the site, as well as collections in the CMS and press publish. So if you're working on the design and development of the website, but you perhaps wanted to have your hands off of the more sort of content-driven side of things, you maybe want to bring your client or their copywriter on board, then this is a great way to do that, to allow you to stay in full control over the layout and the setup of the site, whilst leaving the content and publishing to someone who's perhaps either better qualified or, specific to that role in that company. You can also allow editor roles such as website viewer and commenter separate from any of these. This will allow a user to basically view the page and drop comments that you can then turn into actionable points when you're back in the editor yourself. So they can thread comments and tag you in specific sections of the site. Let's say there's a button in the navigation bar that they're not too happy with the background color or the particular copy that's being used. They can drop a comment on a very specific part of the page, and then the next time you're in the editor, you can pick up from that comment and make those changes. So this is a great way to bring on board Perhaps you're less tech savvy or you're less technically minded clients who just want to not necessarily take full transfer or ownership of the project, but do want to be able to sort of have some creative involvement, or perhaps have a lot of feedback and you're getting long messages. This is potentially a much easier way for you to manage that feedback. And there's even specific roles for marketing, billing, and sort of CMS specific. If none of these suit your particular business setup or your relationship with your client, you can also create custom roles that let you basically combine these permissions into your own defined role, which might be more beneficial for the way that your company's set up or the way that you work with your clients. So it's worth having a good scroll through all of these before inviting your client, and then go through, see what roles you'd like to assign to them, and the invite will be sent through to them. They'll have about 3 days to accept, and from then they can collaborate with you on your project. So the main benefit and the predominant reason that a lot of designers and developers will choose this for their client handover is that inviting a collaborator means that you keep your access to the project, which you can also do with the second method, and I'll explore that more later on. But it also allows you to stay firmly in the driving seat, bring them on board as a collaborator, but also keep your role as a website developer and designer. So for me in particular, this works well for my less tech savvy clients. So those clients that are particularly intimidated by the idea of taking on full ownership of their website, that just perhaps want to leave a few comments or manage their inbox, but not take over the entire CMS collections or the website development on the whole, then this is a great way to bring them on board, assign specific roles, reassure them that they're not going to be able to break anything that they're not used to, and just give them exactly what they need and when they need it. And we can also update and change any of these roles and permissions at any time. So if someone's come on board to thread comments and leave some specific feedback for you to work on, further down the line, if they wanted to have a go at some content writing themselves without necessarily interacting with the design and layout, you can then change their permissions to ensure they can do this. So let's head back to our dashboard and we'll explore the second method, which is the entire transfer. So again, if we click on Site Actions, and then this time instead of Invite Collaborators, let's click on Transfer Site. This is where we can invite via email one of our clients to effectively become the new owner of this site or project. Now, this here is a free site that I'm building, so you can't see it, but above here where we enter the email address, you'll also have options to transfer ownership of the domain if you purchase a domain for the project, and the plan. So let's say you have an upgraded project with a custom domain, you can transfer all of these as well as the payments in one swoop with this method. So you enter the email address of your client, and then you get this option here. How would you describe them? So a client, an agency or freelancer, or someone else. This just helps Wix Studio ensure that you're getting the right options for this transfer. You click continue, and again, before you click and continue, ensure that you've read above whether or not, if you're on a paid plan or have a paid domain, you wish to transfer those as well. Click continue, and then you have a few more options. So here you'll see you have the option to keep your role as a co-owner on this site after the transfer. Now, if you wish to keep points in Wix Studio, it's really important that you do this at least for a period of time. But this is predominantly used so that you can keep access to the site and avoids basically a situation where a client is absolutely lost and perhaps has taken on more than they can chew, or perhaps is a bit new to the software and wants your help still. This is a great way of working alongside your clients rather than essentially transferring the entire project and workload over to them in one go. So keeping your role as co-owners can be very beneficial, not only to you as a website developer and designer, but also for your client to effectively still be able to ask you for help where it's needed. And you'll see there that second option here, create a copy of this site and keep it in my account. There are so many reasons that I recommend doing this. So first and foremost, it's a great way to store a backup. If your client takes on board that project and, perhaps goes down an exploratory route of finding a new way to design something or lay it out, and then just stands back and goes, I've ruined it, or I've changed this way beyond what I would actually like, can we revert back to the original? If you've got a copy, then there's always something you can either reference back to or hand back over to the client. So I always recommend keeping a copy. It can also be useful for you to sort of see what you've worked on in the past and not just lose full ownership. So I always recommend selecting this option before transferring a project. So when you're happy, you can click continue and you'll just get one final review of everything you'll be transferring. So again, if you have a paid plan and domain here, you will see it all in this summary before you'll be able to click transfer ownership. And again, they'll have about 3 days to accept this, and they'll receive an email from Wix Studio allowing them to come on board and initiate the transfer effectively. So as you can see, it's really simple. The main benefit of choosing the transfer option to this second method is that it gives your client full ownership of the website. Yes, you can stay on board as a co-owner, but this is effectively giving full content ownership to your client. So if you have a less tech-savvy client, if you have a client that doesn't necessarily know what they wish to do with their website, then this is potentially not the best option to explore. However, if you're working with a company or a client that feels confident with web design, perhaps they want to manage everything themselves and they feel confident doing so, then absolutely explore this option. Beyond transferring your site and inviting collaborators, Wix Studio offers a range of tools to make not only the client transfer process, but also the ongoing relationship with your clients really easy and effortless. So within the dashboard, you'll see here on the left-hand side, we have a tab called Client Experience. The Client Experience tab effectively gives us a range of tools just to keep our client relationships going really, really well. So it is a full suite of tools, from gathering feedback from your clients to providing kits, which I'll cover more in a second, getting reports on your clients, having a custom branded portal that they can access, and also really impressive here, managing your clients effectively in a full CRM within Wix Studio. So you can handle payments, ongoing contracts, and recurring subscriptions all from within Wix Studio. So if you have a project that's going to require an ongoing payment and it would suit you to bill your client for whatever reason, they haven't got to pay Wix Studio, they can continue to pay you and you can manage their website. So this is a full CRM and client billing platform in one place. So this is exactly where you can really see where Wix Studio shines when you're coming at it from the perspective of a website designer or developer. This is definitely a tool built for people with website clients who want to transfer and hand over projects, but also manage that ongoing relationship. So really worth exploring this if you're perhaps new to website development and you want to start taking on clients. You can manage everything in one platform, which is really, really impressive. In fact, it's unheard of. So definitely go and check this out. The one thing I did want to touch on a bit more, and again, something I've not heard of before, I'm really impressed with, is Client Kits. So if we click this, you'll see here, ensure a seamless site handover with Client Kits. So beyond just handing over your website, Client Kits allow you to also hand over video tutorials either made by you or made by Wix Studio, files and resources, and basically anything that you think your client could need in addition to that website transfer to have their best experience with launching their brand online. So this could be perhaps a brand guidelines document, logo files. If you've worked on building the brand from the ground up and then to the website, you can give them one portal where they can manage their website, manage their brand resources, and own their full digital presence in one space. Not only that, you can provide them with specific Wix Studio tutorials, and I'll show you how to do that now. So if we click Start Now, we can then choose a site that we want to use. So I'm just going to use this. This is from a previous tutorial, and click Continue. And you'll see here we get the kind of dialogue to create a client kit. So you can upload files or select from Wix Studio tutorial videos to add resources. So this is where if you have a PDF brand guideline or those specific logo files, perhaps font files that your clients might find useful to have, upload them here and they can have it all in one place that they can access really easily, which is awesome. But the other thing that I wanted to show you is those tutorials from Wix Studio. So if we click Add Resources, and then on the left-hand side, we click Videos from Wix Studio, you'll see we get access to a whole library of resources specifically made for Wix Studio by the Wix Studio team themselves. So for example, if you've got a client that comes on board who wants to maybe start taking their first steps with the CMS, then you can continuously update their kind of kit to reflect what they're needing to use. So if you want to hand over a project with a CMS built into it to a client that wants to start learning how to use this, you can send this CMS introduction video alongside some supporting media of your own to your client from their portal. So if we click Add to Kit, you'll see a little preview here on the right-hand side. You can say, hello and welcome to your client. Always nice to be personal when you're working with a client. It keeps things friendly, and it also just makes sure they have a nice, smooth experience. And then their personalized resource kits, which again can include anything you wish to upload, as well as anything from the Wix Studio archive effectively of tutorials. Beyond that, they also get access to their activity and analytics all in one place. So a really great client dashboard that, again, I've not seen done in this way by many other platforms. So definitely worth exploring if you're looking to take on lots of clients. So specifically with that last point, you can really see how the client handover and the transfer process is a way to reflect on your own integrity and professionality as a designer or developer. So if I build a website for a customer and I hand over that project to them alongside any resources or files that I've made for them, you can see how, especially with custom branding, you are presenting yourself in a really professional manner. This would be great for getting repeat orders or having a great reputation to take on new jobs. And alongside all of that, you have a CRM and payments built into the platform to manage your entire project. So if you're a freelancer or a creative like me who runs a business creating websites for clients, then you can see how Wix Studio is an absolute no-brainer for bringing clients on board and sharing resources with them. So I hope you found this useful, and hopefully you can see how Wix Studio makes it not only easy to add collaborators but transfer entire projects over to your client in that handover process, but then also keep a good relationship with them in the long run, as well as keeping yourself paid where payment is due and just staying on top of their kind of client relationship. So really, really great tool. If you've got any questions at all with the client handover process in or out of Wix Studio, then please do drop a comment below. But as always, if you're a founder, a business owner, a creative or creator like me, perhaps you're a web designer and developer looking to pick up new skills, then please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. We are eking ever so slowly closer to that 100k mark. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of you for supporting me throughout this. It's been an amazing journey and you have all been wonderful. So yeah, please make sure you're subscribed. Please drop a comment below and give the video a like, and I shall see you in the next video.